Welcome to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Namovsky. What exactly is a marriage contract? Simply put, it's a way to protect your assets. I believe it's an important step as it safeguards what you've built and saved before moving in with your or marrying your partner. Some may view it as a sign of negativity in the relationship, but I actually look at it differently. A marriage contract offers valuable insights into the person you're entering a relationship with, fostering transparency and understanding. Marriage contracts aren't just for some people, they're for everyone. Today, I'm joined by Jane Cvijan, who's Senior Counsel at M&Co Law, and she's here to tell us why. Jane, welcome to Empowered.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's begin. What is a marriage contract? Because I have to say, I was talking to a bunch of young people and they have this negativity came up and they said, you're tainting the relationship, before it ends up growing. So please explain what a marriage contract is.
For sure. Well, firstly, there are a few different contracts under the concept of a marriage contract. We have a prenuptial agreement, which is what most of us know about, a postnuptial agreement, or a cohabitation agreement, which is meant for couples who are not married but are common law spouses.
Okay, so how do you go about getting a marriage contract? And how do you bring it up to your partner?
For sure. Well, firstly, you can bring it up in a way that's positive. It does not have to be a negative conversation. It can absolutely be one that is intended to fortify your relationship and make it stronger. Because right at the outset, you're going to talk about the thing that most couples fight about, which is money. And the best way to do your research in terms of getting a marriage contract, go online and find a lawyer and interview that lawyer and make sure that their philosophy aligns with what you're looking to accomplish with your agreement.
So let's just step back a moment. You did talk about the three different contracts. There's the prenup, the marriage contract, and then the cohabitation agreement. Could you explain exactly which one, what each one is?
For sure. The prenuptial agreement is what you would want to obtain before you get married. A postnuptial agreement is you've already been married, you are married, and now you want to get your marriage contract in place for whatever reason you didn't do it before you got married. And then a cohabitation agreement is for common law partners. So common law partners are not married, but they have been living together for more than 3 years, or they're living together and they have a child, and they too need to protect their rights under the law, even though it is a little bit different for common law partners than it is for married people.
So you said 3 years. I was under the impression, maybe this is old news, that it was 2 years. Is there a change?
It's 3 years. I think it's been 3 years for a long time. It can be less than 3 years, but only if you have a child, whether that is a biological child or an adopted child.
Good. Well, that's good to know because a lot of people think the latter. So why would I want an agreement like this?
You want an agreement like this, frankly, to protect yourself, and everybody should want to protect themselves from what happens if you do separate. Because if you do separate, and hopefully that does not happen, everybody wants to live happily ever after. I certainly wanted to live happily ever after, did not. But if you wind up separating, it is very costly. And when I say costly, I do not just mean money, though it is extremely expensive, but it's also costly in respect of your time and your emotional health.
So why don't you just go through some of the steps then when there is a breakdown without a prenup? Because a lot of people just think, you know what, I'm not giving him this because this is mine and I worked hard for it. But without a prenup, it doesn't really matter. You have to share it all, don't you?
You do, it's an automatic obligation to divide all of your assets and debts equally. You have to remember that it's also debts. So if you're married to somebody who has a lot of debts, you're also taking that on just as you're taking on the assets. And then you have to deal with support obligations, whether you're the one who's pursuing support or you're the one who's going to be paying it. These are all things that you're going to have to deal with at a time where you are highly emotional and you're potentially going to be having people in your ears, lawyers. I don't want to badmouth fellow lawyers, but certainly you can have people in your ear who are going to be promoting that emotion and are going to be encouraging you to continue to fight and drag it on. And you potentially are not going to be any further ahead at the end of it than you were at the start. And you could have avoided it all with an agreement.
Okay, so please don't go away. We'll be right back to talk more about marriage contracts and cohabitation agreements.